You have it there. All right, it's just arguing. But the new ones aren't like that.
When
That's
they come
ours.
like that,
And probably don't have everything in it.
Well, you found that out from the book you got, right?
Right.
The
I ordered the
Constantine book, World's
Constantine
First
book.
Christian.
It didn't have the forward, and the forward had good. I went back and looked at it after y'all all me out last week. The forward didn't have. The forward had some good information in it.
See, that's what I'm saying. As these new companies reprint these things, they have the option to leave out information, especially something that's going to actually stand out and make a person think, oh, really? Because if you know, we were talking about last week, the World's First Christian Convention, Constantine, and what Constantine actually did to affect religion as we know it today. Most people who are practicing Christianity don't know that they're actually practicing what's called Christendom. It's not Christianity like you've been told. And it's really something that came from a political maneuver that Constantine made at the Council of Nicaea in 325.
I didn't know
But-
this.
Here we go.
Phil, I think you had mentioned before the distinction between Christianity and Christendom. You mind giving me a quick definition of those two?
Okay. Christianity is supposedly taken from the Nicene, the Essenes, and it's really, you have the book in front of you. Flip to the last chapter of this book right quick. That would be page 364.
And that's why we can't get through this book. Which book are you looking at?
Oh, I'm in the religion book.
Oh, this one. 364?
Mm-hmm. On 365, the oldest writing in the Hebrew, Chaldean, and Syriac, and later Greek. I'm in that first paragraph. And that's kind of where Christianity was, and it was something from the Coptics, Africans, that had brought forth from really what we're doing right now, okay? It comes a time when Rome is coming on the scene as an empire, and so a lot of the people in Rome are participating in this African Coptic religion taught by the Gnostics and the Essenes. So Constantine, in order to kind of unite his kingdom, decides, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Now the problem is, and like she said, if you don't have this older version, they leave out the forward, which is the part that tells you about who Constantine was. Constantine, by being the emperor of Rome, was a really pretty bad character. So he winds up killing his wife and his mom. And so when it came time for the priests to more or less, do their, keep in mind, now we're operating kind of almost in Catholicism now, okay? Mm-hmm. So the priests have the capacity to forgive your sins, all right? Well, in the case of Constantine, they said, there's no salvation for you. You have done so many things, we can't save your soul. You're doomed. So in essence, what he said is, okay, I'm sticking it to everybody. If I'm going to hell, I'm taking everybody with me, okay? So instead of continuing with what we've been doing and the belief system and the teachings from the ancient Egyptians, who you can see, that's where Christianity flows out of on this chart. Did you see that?
Right, I see specifically.
Okay, let's go back so everybody sees this. actually look at, here's Egyptian religion, which turns into Judaism. Okay? Judaism and Egyptian religion turns into what you call Christianity. Okay? And out of Judaism comes Islam. All right? But in order for him to say, okay, if I can't be saved, then, you know, I'm jacking everybody. So at the meeting at 325, which is right up in here, when he convenes all the bishops from around the world and has what they call the papal, okay, he then actually puts all of the African bishops out of the church because they're forming the empire of Rome. This is a new white empire, so you can't have your gods and all these black priests running around heading up your show and telling you what the old story is.
Okay, yes, I never knew it had a racial aspect to it. I never even knew that. I thought it was all
everything we're doing right now is black. There is no white.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, as you can see, Egypt was a black country. Okay. So even when you get into Judaism, the real Jews look like us. The people that are considering themselves Jews today are really people from Europe that are operating under the auspices of Zionism. That's a political apparatus. It has nothing to do with religion. And we get kind of confused there and think because someone declares themselves a Jew that they are actually practicing Judaism. Judaism, you could, any one of us could join that religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Okay? But they have co-opted this and put it under Zionism, which is another facet of world domination and control. Okay? The Zionists have the same kind of agenda as do the white boys in Rome.
Okay.
All right? So they have co-opted the religion by making it look like it's white, which in fact it was not at all. You'll see that where you'll see Isis, Amun-Ra, which is one of the gods that we bumped into this chapter, and El, that's where you get Israel from. Okay? It really comes straight out of this Egyptian stuff. It's really people studying these other deities that make the children of Israel. All right? Now, Constantine is saying, oh, okay, then keep in mind, now he can kill his wife, his mom. I might get this reversed. He kills one of them and boils the other one in oil. That's how trifling this dude is. So when they tell him they can't save him, he says, okay, then we're going to put this under my control. At the meeting, he convenes this, says, okay, all you Africans, blah, 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 and everybody's teaching the Coptic version and the Essenes, you're now out. You're done. And Arius is one of the Essenes from the old school. And so he's teaching the story of Horus like we've been doing, which has been around forever. Constantine decides we're not rolling like that anymore, and I'm coming up with this new guy named Jesus. We're going to take your guy, we're going to rename him, we're going to lighten him up, and we're going to sell him to the world as the Son of God, as a person. Okay? And that's where we are even in this chapter, where you see how these deities that are mythical are now taking on this human form. But in fact, none of these gods have ever been human. Okay, we need to make sure. See, that's where churches really get you jacked, because the God essence is a whole nother realm that does not occupy human space. Okay, and once they decided Jesus is going to be the new Horus, okay, he's going to be the Son of God. We're going to have Easter, blah blah. All right, now. He's actually changed up all of the teachings from what they used to be for hundreds and thousands of years. So these old boys are like, hey man, you can't do that. Ain't nobody gonna go for that foolishness. I mean, this stuff about Horus has been around, as they tell us, 600,000 years. How are you gonna all of a sudden bring in this new guy and replace Horus and tell people this is the Son of God? He actually came down to earth and blah, 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 blah. Okay? So in the process, he said, okay, we're gonna take the evening off. And tomorrow when we come back, whatever books are on the table, that's going to be the official books of our Bible. So magically, when they come back the next day, the lost books, are those 18 books of Eden, those are no longer around. And what you now have is the 66 books of the official Bible. Now, it doesn't take a whole lot of, brain energy to figure out that men did this. This is not something God did. No, God didn't come in and remove some of the books out of the Bible magically overnight, But that's the same question I ask people when we talk about the King James Version of the Bible. There's a lot of versions of the Bible. Why would you take King James's version and think that's real holy men from God wrote that and never ask what is their agenda? Okay? So that's the long and short of it. And in the forward, because you made a copy, right? Or you just made your
I
copy?
made a copy of the forward.
Yes. Can you make copies for everyone else?
Of the forward?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because, like she said, in the new book, that part has been omitted. So you're not going to get that part of the story when you order the new book.
And in the new one, so far, it don't talk, in his life, they don't say that he burnt anybody at all either.
And did you get that one on Amazon? Okay, because what I just saw that they had that available on Amazon.
I got it on Amazon. But he
Okay.
this young man just downloaded a
PDF.
1913 copy.
1914.
1914 copy.
See,
Okay.
anything,
Yeah, can
no.
you send that
Does it
link?
have the,
It's because anything before 1915 is not
you
copy
just
protected.
PDF it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you gotta do is just Google.
See what I'm
it,
saying?
PDF.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can send it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
That's what
I
you
just
need
sent
to
it
do.
to Keon.
Now,
Okay, cool.
and see, we can print
Send it
that
to me also.
Okay.
legally.
Yeah,
There's
that's why
no,
it's
there's
on.
nothing against the law if it's from 1915 or before. There's no
They don't
law.
have
You can print it. That's how these other people have reprinted it, because there's no copy protection on any document before 1915.
And I noticed in the back of yours, there's a lot of good reference material.
Mhm.
It's not in here either.
Right. Well, I mean, just as we're going along, we need to realize that, as you're getting more and more knowledge on what these guys really did, they don't want the world to have access to this. I mean, if you think about it, these books we're messing with right now were never intended for us. In the chapter we're looking at, okay, we're in. Let's go to where we really should be.
Yeah, that's what it should. We'll never get through these books.
2:12. Now, as you go
What's gonna
through
be
here,
next? What's our rush? What's gonna be next?
Yeah,
I
man.
want to get done before winter.
Okay. If you guys have Dropbox, I just save that version to Dropbox.
Just send it to my Casey too.
okay, it says the solar cult followed lunar. We know that.
He'll send it.
It's been around. It says the solar cult and the eschatology lasted about 100,000 years. Exodes of different phases left Africa in different times. It went to Europe, Asia, Central America, South America, etc. You can see here, I'm in the 4th paragraph
What page?
on 2:12, the first page. It says the Incas, where the Incas traveled. So what's happening now is they're beginning to tell time by the sun as opposed to the moon or the stars. Their references are now all going to become solar. Okay, and in doing that, they're taking a lot of the old information. The difference being, when the new guys come, they always try to wipe out the old people's stuff and make it look like they're the